One of the things that you can do in Business Central now is actually net off a customer and a vendor if they are the same company. This means that if they have a customer balance and a vendor balance, you don't run the risk of overpaying them when they actually owe you money. So what does that mean? Let me show you an example of one that's set up. So here we have School of Fine Art, which is a customer and a vendor. And you have the balance, the customer balance, but you also can see that there's a vendor balance. Likewise, when we go to the vendor, we'll be able to see that there's a customer balance. What we don't want to do is, if there's a payment run, pay them the full £60,000 when they actually have a balance due of £31,000. And just a point of note, this balance due is not the net. This balance due is simply the amount of the balance that is actually due today, just like it would have been before. So how do we set this up? I'm going to go to a company that we've already got here, a sample company. So you can create a new customer card or create a new vendor card to do this. And in this here, you'll see that they've had a couple of invoices and they've got a balance. They owe us £779. If we navigate down to the contacts, in the contact code, we can select the company contact. And then from the menu, we can go to Actions, Functions, and Create As. So this is a customer and we want to create them as a vendor. If I just click here, it's asking me to choose a template because we have templates set up. I want them to be just the vendor company, and it's now created a vendor. And you can see that the contact has now changed to multiple. It's a customer and a vendor. Okay. So now if I come out of here and I go to vendors, you'll see that this sample company has been created as a vendor. And in here, you'll see that the balance, the customer balance, has been brought through as the £779.28 owed. Now I'm going to put an invoice on, and we're going to see how you can actually make sure that you don't pay the full amount of the invoice. So new document, purchase invoice. And let's say our customer has sent us an invoice for some rent. The invoice, and let's just put the due date as today. It's the 8th of April is doing that. I'm going to change this to GL account. Let's put a nice round number in. And there we have an invoice there for £800, £960 in total. And I'm just going to post this. Okay, don't want to open it. We're back on the vendor card now. We can see that we actually have a balance of £960 and we have a customer balance of £780. Again, the balance due only relates to the vendor. So if you were to run a normal payment run now, the amount due would have been £960, but we don't want to pay them that. We want to actually net that down. So, and we also don't want to chase them for £779 when we actually owed them £960. So what do we do? In the payment journal, we can go to Prepare and Net Customer Vendor Balances. What you need to fill in is a document number. You can then choose the order of suggestion by entry number, invoices first, or finance memo. And then choose your vendor. Now I've got my vendor selected as a sample company. You could leave this blank and it would actually do all the vendors for you that you need to do to net off to zero. So, okay. And what's happened now, it's created one document here, Contra 1, and another one, Contra 2, for an optional payment. So we had a customer balance of £779. What it's done on the customer card is it's cleared that balance and it's then debited the creditor account, which will then leave you with the remaining balance that needs to be paid. So if I post this now, we will then see a remainder amount on there that will be picked up on the next payment run. We could choose to pay it now, or we could credit it off. So I'm going to net it off. So I'm going to delete this line. Don't want to. See what happens. There we go. So delete this line, post it. Okay, and now we're going to see what happened on there. So if I go back to my vendors, and in this vendor here, if I look at the ledger entries, you can see that this here has now got a remaining amount of £180.72. So when you go to then do the payment run, that's the amount you pay rather than overpaying that. And on the customer account, it now has a remaining amount of zero. We can just look at that now. Customer balance is now zero. Nothing owed. If I go back to my customers and go to the ledger entries, you'll see that there was the original invoice and then there was a payment of types, a contra payment, to net them off, to bring them down to zero. And that's how you do contras in Business Central.